Hey everyone, hope everyone is having a good week. Today I will be presenting on Three Boys Music Corporation versus Michael Bolton. So going right into the background, let me expand this a little bit so you can see the picture. Sorry. Okay, so this is a picture of the Isley Brothers. They were a famous rhythm and blues group from the 1960s. They were even inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. A couple of their most popular songs include Twist and Shout, and I thought I would play this one just to make sure everybody knows what one of their famous songs were. So hopefully people know what song that is or what group it is. I didn't know the name of the group, but I knew that song, so now I made that connection. Then Michael Bolton, he was a popular singer-songwriter, and he attempted to revive the soul sound in the late 80s and early 90s, so kind of bring back what the Isley Brothers brought to the table in the 60s. And he was known for many covers. One of his most popular covers was Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. And here's that. Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, then I watch them blow the wind again. So that is that song. Okay, so moving on to the facts of the case. The Isley Brothers produced a song called Love is a Wonderful Thing in 1964, and then Bolton produced a song with the same exact title in 1991. And I thought I would play those two songs just to give you an idea. So this is the one by the Isley Brothers. Love is a wonderful thing. I said love. Love is a wonderful thing. I said love. Love is a wonderful thing. Love is a wonderful thing. I said love. Okay. And here is Michael Bolton's version of that. So Michael Bolton was known for his covers, but he didn't establish that as a cover. So at first I didn't hear the similarities, but then once it got to the chorus, I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty similar. So the Three Brothers Corporation filed a copyright infringement action for damages against the Isley Brothers because they had copyrighted the Love is a Wonderful Thing song. So the disposition in 1994 with the district court, Bolton infringed on, it was found that Bolton had indeed infringed on the copyright of the song by the Isley Brothers. Then the district court denied a motion for a new trial, and then the second motion for new trial was also dismissed, and we'll talk about that more later. Then in 1996, the final judgment was in favor of the Isley Brothers, and then in 2000, the Court of Appeals, the Isley Brothers appealed, and then it went to the Court of Appeals in 2000, and the Court of Appeals affirmed, and that's what we'll be focusing on today. Okay, so the Court of Appeals, Michael Bolton and the rest of his group, so like his music, the people who published his music, and also his co-author, claimed that the district court erred in their decisions based off of access, substantial similarity, sufficiency of deposit copy, and their decision of the attribution of profits, the deduction of tax liability, and the decision to deny the second new trial motion. So then the Court of Appeals went through all of those and explained the district court's findings as well as why and whether or not they affirmed each one. And they did end up affirming and agreeing with all of the district court's decisions, but they really go in depth on all of those. So in terms of access, to prove this point, there must be a particular chain of events that occurred to establish a relationship between the defendant and the plaintiff's work, and also the work of the plaintiff is widely disseminated, or disseminated, yes. So this idea is that the defendant had many different forms of access to this content, and that would have contributed to maybe them subconsciously copying the work because they had so much access to this and exposure to the content. So in order to prove access, they have to prove one of those points. And it was found that the evidence was weak but substantial enough. So the claims weren't necessarily able to be proven. They claimed that the music was popular when Michael Bolton and his co-author were teenagers, so it was probable that they listened to this type of music, but other claims were similar to that, and so those can't really be proven. So they were seen as weak, but also substantial enough, and the Court of Appeals said that they were not trying to change rules regarding access and future cases. So that decision was affirmed. And in terms of substantial similarity, there's two tests. So basically, it's just proving that the two works are very similar. So the first extrinsic test is, with the extrinsic test, there must be concrete elements that are presented. Then with the intrinsic test, an ordinary person, it must be proven that an ordinary person would be able to see elements of the songs to be substantially similar. So the district court found that there were many similar elements between the songs, including a similar hook, as we heard, and a similar shifted cadence, similar use of instruments, and similar relationship between the verse and the chorus, and also a similar fade ending. And also there was a tape that revealed that Michael had another song in mind when he was producing Love is a Wonderful Thing. Like he would I don't remember, they mentioned a song that he had mentioned while he was recording, saying, oh, it is similar to this, like I must have that song in my head. So it was proven that he was indeed thinking of another one, and it might have just been the song by the Isley Brothers. So that is a thought. And it was found that there was substantial evidence to satisfy the two-part test, and the decision was affirmed by the Court of Appeals. Okay, in terms of sufficiency of the deposit copy. So I did not know this, but in order to gain a copyright, one must produce a complete deposit of their content. So in terms of music, the creator of the song must include a complete set of sheet music or a recording on a CD, so it will go on file, so they have reference for situations like this, that a complete version of the original song is available for someone to access to compare another song to that one if need be, like in this situation. And Michael Bolton claimed, or the defendant claimed, that they did not have a complete copy, that it was altered, but it was found the complete copy was indeed deposited by the Isley Brothers, and the decision was confirmed by the Court of Appeals. In terms of attribution of profits, the plaintiff must prove that profits came from factors other than the infringing elements in order to claim that they did not profit from their song, their infringement, and it was found that 66% of the song's profits resulted from infringing elements, so similar elements, and this decision was also affirmed. There was enough evidence in terms of deduction of tax liability. So the Supreme Court found that decided that willful infringers could not deduct income taxes from infringing profits, but non-willful infringers could. And Sony Music, who produced the song Michael Bolton, it was found that they can't, or it was decided that they can deduct income taxes from the infringing profits, but cannot deduct its net operating loss carry forward. And the decision was affirmed. And then regarding the denial of the second new trial motion, a denial of a motion for new trial was sent or is put under review in terms of looking for an abuse of discretion. The evidence was found before the Michael Bolton and Sony found new evidence, and they found it before the deadline for post-trial motions, but yet they still filed for the motion after the deadline, so yet it was deemed untimely, and so there was no abuse of discretion. It was just not on time, and that decision was affirmed. And so the holding stands by the district court. Sony, you can see that they were charged with over $4 million in damages. Bolton, $900,000. Bolton's partner, $200,000, and then the music publishing companies, $75,000. So quite a lot. And I thought it was interesting that the Court of Appeals went through every single thing that Michael Bolton claimed that the district court erred in, and just really kind of dumbed it down in each section. And so here is my works cited. Sorry for all of the mistakes in my talking today. I had a long shift at work, so I'm kind of all over the place. But anyway, again, here's my works cited, and please give me some feedback below on how I can improve and what you thought of the case. Thank you. Have a great night.